going on, you guys? It's your boy Jeameave back here with another video of Views from the Heart. If you're new to the channel and like what you see, feel free to browse my other videos as well as subscribing because it really helps me out. With that being said, I have a 2019 Chevy Blazer, courtesy of Martin Chevrolet. Once again, thank you so much to Lewis and Aldo and Marco for this wonderful opportunity. I appreciate you guys so much. So now back to the new, completely redesigned and kind of came out of nowhere, very surprisingly, the Blazer from Chevy. The last time the Blazer was, or it ended production in 2005, and it originally came out, I believe, in like 1969, and it was originally kind of basically a pickup with a camper on it. It was more kind of like a rugged frame on body type vehicle. It was definitely nothing remotely similar to what I have in front of me today. The reason being is that it looks pretty much like a Camaro with 4 doors. And obviously being a crossover. And I think it's very interesting that Chevy chose this nameplate being the Blazer. It doesn't really make too much sense to me, in the sense that I feel like they could have called this a Camaro GT or something of that nature. I feel like the Blazer and the heritage that it has with the name of it is something, how should I say, special to a lot of people, especially the elder generation, and you know, those who have owned a Blazer before. Now granted, back to the design, it's been very polarizing. It is something that is, how should I say, it's not nearly as egregious as I originally thought, in all honesty. Now that I see it in person, I appreciate the lines a little bit more, and the fact that it literally looks like a 4-door Camaro, previous, you know, like the 15 to 18s, that does not have the, you know, the 2019 facelift model, which is interesting to me, again, in the sense that they chose that design language of a Camaro basically, but yet the Camaro for 2019, and this is a 2019, left that design language behind for what now the 2019 Camaro looks, and this looks like the previous non-face of the Camaro of the 6th generation. So it's kind of working backwards in a way. Like I said, it's not a bad vehicle overall. It's just I just find it confusing that Chevy chose the name Blazer for this. Again, as aforementioned, I feel like they could have done this a little bit differently, but hey, what do I know? I'm not an executive, or nor do I make these calls. I'm just kind of you know, a consumer. And after reading some of the comments that a lot of people have been saying about this vehicle, it's something that is very split. I don't really see people kind of in the middle. You kind of love it or hate it. And like I said, I feel like a lot of the negativity coming towards this vehicle would have been probably avoided greatly if they would have just called it something different and not use the Blazer nameplate. With Ford bringing back the Bronco, this is a lot of people were expecting Chevy to bring back something for that kind of like that old heritage, that old rivalry between, you know, the Bronco and the Trailblazer, again with the heritage being kind of like a pickup with a camper and, you know, a huge cargo area and things of that nature. But I don't know. With that being said, the specs of this vehicle, it is packing a naturally aspirated 3.6 liter V6. Hey guys, I just want to make a quick correction. Unfortunately, the app that I use, CarBuzz, when I'm out in the field, unfortunately led me to believe that the naturally aspirated 3.6 liter V6 in this Blazer had 227 horsepower or something like that. It actually has 305 horsepower and 269 pound-feet of torque. I apologize for the inconvenience and if you hear me say the incorrect number throughout the video. Again, the correct power output is 305 horsepower and 269 pound-feet of torque, naturally aspirated. Thank you. Sorry for the inconvenience. So with that being said, I think I covered enough in terms of the introduction to this vehicle. Let's take this bad boy for a spin and see how it drives. Let's go. So what's this like driving a 2019 Chevy Blazer, courtesy of Martin Chevrolet? Once again, thank you so much to Lewis, Aldo, and my guy Marco, who is riding with me shotgun. Marco, can you please introduce yourself to the audience and you know, tell them a little bit about yourself and where they can reach you at?
Hey there guys, my name's Marco Bernone. I just started at Martin Chevrolet just 3 months ago. Brand new. My first sales job as well, so it's been kind of a slap in the face, but you know, here we are now, working through it.
Face reality.
Yeah, pretty much. My dad sat me down, he's like, hey, you gotta pay the bills, so here I am, you know?
Oh yes, come help my boy out. Where can the people reach you at that are watching if you want to, you know, drop your number or anything like that?
So you can call me on or text me on my cell phone number. It's going to be 310-536-6135, and I'm also available on email. It's just mbrunone@yahoo.com.
we'll hear there first. If you're interested in the Blazer or any other Chevy related vehicle, please feel free to reach out to my guy Marco for any of your needs. So that being said, back to the Blazer. I am in sport mode right now, which is pretty funny because this vehicle weighs about 3,900 pounds right now. This is the front wheel drive with the naturally aspirated V6, pushing 227 horsepower and 365 pound-feet of torque, with the optional 20-inch rims with 255s all around. So it has auto stop, so I'll turn it off.
No.
Oh god, that is interesting. We're obviously stopped right now, and we're going down sort of some twisty roads, but you can leave it on. It doesn't matter. It's a little late now, but this does also have the Chevy MyLink version 4.0, I believe. This is brand new for 2019. Show them right here. You can see it has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, which is also pretty fast, which is what I also experienced in the 2019 Chevy Camaro SS. Like I said, this is a crossover, which for people that aren't aware, a CUV is meant to be a little bit more sporty than your regular SUV. So right now, like I said, I am in sport mode. The steering, which is kind of surprising to me, is pretty vague. I'm not really getting much feedback, which is kind of the first vehicle I've experienced from Chevy that has this steering feel that is not as communicative as I am used to. It's really not there, if I'm being honest. Which is, like I said, surprising, because every Chevy vehicle I've driven, even down to the Equinox and the Traverse, had pretty communicative steering feedback, and literally as I'm driving here, albeit it's comfortable, I feel nothing in terms of what the front wheels are doing. It's very muted, and that is something that personally is disappointing. But obviously this is not a sporty vehicle per se. It's just kind of for show. And obviously I'm taking it down rails that this is not really meant to be. But this is just something I like to do with vehicles of all types if given an opportunity. Just to kind of show kind of my perspective, and then also bring in perspectives from other people. So again, this is something that for a lot of people, especially just the namesake of the Blazer, is very unique and has a lot of heritage to it. And I think Chevy may have made a mistake in using the namesake Blazer for this vehicle. The reason being for the fact that this is nothing remotely similar to what most people were looking for the Blazer to be. I feel like they could have called this basically anything else, and it would not have as much as the polarizing or divided reaction that this vehicle seems to be garnering right now. If you look at it in a vacuum or objectively, overall this is not a bad vehicle. I think it looks very good. Again, it's literally essentially a Camaro pre-facelift with 4 doors and a tailgate, which is pretty cool, because considering the fact that the Camaro has a very awkward trunk opening that makes it useless in a lot of applications. While the trunk itself of the Camaro isn't too bad, in terms of the spacing, the opening of it makes it very awkward. So although the actual package may be able to fit inside the trunk of the Camaro itself, the opening may make it to where the point that it cannot actually even fit. So with that being said, this is the I believe the 2LT, kind of like the base front wheel drive model, and obviously the interior. Now for people that are familiar with my videos knows that I abhor cloth seats. It is just not for me personally, but I understand that you know, some people just want a beater, or just don't care, or just like prefer cloth seats somehow over leather. And the reason being is because personally I own a Siberian Husky. My son Jay, shout out to you, love you. Even the vehicle in and of itself, if you have things that would attract smells, like kids, you know, you drive to soccer practice, things of that nature, cloth seats are permeable, meaning that over time it is possible that the seats can accrue various smells that are less than desirable within your vehicle. Obviously you can shampoo them, clean them, like, or whatever, but compared to leather seats, technically all you need to do is just take leather cleaner and wipe it off, even if, you know, you have an accident of pretty much any nature. So that's pretty much the main reason why I prefer leather seats, other than the fact that it's a lot more comfortable. But I will say that the comfortability of these cloth seats aren't nearly as egregious as I thought it would be prior to sitting in them. Granted, I haven't been in here too long, so I can't really comment on how they would begin to feel over time, or for usage, or even in a, you know, longer road trip. But as of right now, it's adequate. You know, I'm not feeling too bad about it. And one of the things that I do want to talk about in here is the sound deadening. I think it's pretty impressive for this sort of price bracket of this vehicle. It's pretty isolated in here. Like, I'm not gonna, obviously don't misconstrue my words and say that it's dead silent, but for what it is, the road noise isolation in here is pretty good for what it is. It's also riding fairly comfortable, and like I said, despite the fact that I am in currently sport mode. So obviously the suspension has stiffened up a little bit, and it is also front wheel drive. And unfortunately, I was trying to go down a road that offered a little bit more fun. You know, I tried to avoid traffic here in sunny Torrance, California. But again, you know, as you can see, we have come across another red light as I make a turn. So I will demonstrate sort of the speed, or possible lack thereof, of this vehicle. Again, it is pushing an actually for the V6. I believe there is an RS version of this coming soon, or is available, but you guys don't have it at the moment. Whatever, I'll probably do a review on that as well, just to kind of give the differences, as well as a few styling differences, right, Marco?
Right.
So overall, Marco, what do you think your impressions of this vehicle? I know you're not much of a car person and things of that nature, but this is what, like, probably the first time you've driven in here, kind of felt kind of what this vehicle has to offer, because you guys haven't had many of these come through as of yet. Right,
yeah, this is the first one we have in the showroom. It's only been here about a week. But what I can say is this: if you're looking for an SUV with just 2 rows that looks great on the outside and has a ton of room on the inside, this is the one that you want to go for. The Equinox is just as good, except this is our brand new 2019 model. So it's going to come out decked out with features, especially for the exterior. So if you want something a little flashy and you can still take out the kids and the dog, this is the one to go for.
Yeah, I definitely feel like as if that's the main selling point of this vehicle, is the fact that it is more stylish. But it doesn't really seem like it's lacking, despite the I feel like some understeer right there. This is front wheel drive, and I going straight there. Chevy, what is this? This is, I guess it's just the fact that I'm not used to the quirks of a front wheel drive vehicle. Right. Ooh, this is why you want to go rear wheel drive. It wasn't too bad or anything like that. It didn't scare me anything of that nature, because obviously this is only 226 horsepower. Yep. But I can see, I now have a better and more respectable understanding as to why sport cars more often than not come rear wheel drive and almost never front wheel drive, besides something like a you know, a Type R Civic, which is why is it front wheel drive? But anyway, you know, we're talking about a Chevy Blazer. So it's like I said, this is one of the first Chevy I've kind of become a little bit accustomed, and almost I'm a little bit disappointed in the way that this vehicle feels, in the sense that it's comfortable. But what I've been used to and have seen from Chevy and experienced from most of their vehicles is that they seem to offer pretty adequate performance, even in something like this. Obviously, I love the Camaros. I love the Corvette, the Z06, and the Grand Sport, and the Z01, and the SS. Even RS was relatively pretty good in terms of the communication that it was giving for feedback, and the handling of all of the aforementioned vehicles were very, very stellar, with the 2019 SS being one of my absolute favorite cars in terms of how it feels. It really inspired significant confidence in me to really take that car and push it to near limits for what is acceptable on the road, and especially with the Z06 review that I did as well. And to a lesser degree, of course, the Equinox and the Traverse offered, in my opinion, at least from what I experienced before, I don't know how much they've changed. I believe they brought out the 2019s, and I believe I may have done the 2018s. They still offered, again, as I referenced to a lesser extent, a relatively fun to drive experience. In this, I'm kind of struggling to see, like, I'm thinking like, okay, this is something that is meant to be appealing stylistically. Aesthetically, it is a very pleasing vehicle now to look at it. Well, I'll be the first to admit, Lexi, you're probably gonna watch this because I know you love this vehicle. I admit, I first told you I thought it was hideous. I thought this was kind of like your Dollar Tree or Lamborghini Urus. You know, I think it is something along those lines. But now that I see it in person and have experienced it, I have more of a respect for it, and it's not nearly as hideous as I thought it was. It's honestly, in my personal opinion, a pretty good looking vehicle. I actually would not mind being seen in this or buying something that looks like this. But this is something that, for the first time that I've experienced a Chevy, and my whole main point of what I'm talking about right now is the fact that this is not sporty at all, despite the fact that I am in sport mode. And like I said, the reason I say this is because even in the Traverse and the Equinox, which I have driven before, it still offered something that was somewhat fun. And this is just very muted, and I'm struggling to understand how they managed to do this when they already had the formula before. This platform, this Blazer, is based upon the GMC Acadia, or Arcadia, whatever it's called. I don't remember. I'm not too familiar. I don't think I've ever even seen one on the road, to be honest. But this is the underpinnings of it, which is why some people complain the fact that this is not a body on frame vehicle. This is something completely different. This is something that is not anywhere similar to what the Trailblazer or the Blazer has been known before. This is not really a rugged work vehicle. This is really turned into your everyday family sedan that has nice styling cues to it. And again, like I said, it's most perplexing to me as to why Chevy chose to do so with the name Blazer. I feel like they could have just differentiated it and called it something, just make it different, and it would have been totally acceptable for most people. People just pass it off as either, if they wanted it, they wanted it. But I feel like they're playing too much on the name Blazer in and of itself to accrue sales. But let's see how it feels. Remember, 225 horsepower. Runs up pretty nice. Actually, this is, you know, for something that's actually
You change your mind, huh?
that's not bad. It's honestly, it's not bad. It's I was impressed by it. You know, like I said, this vehicle does weigh about 3,800 pounds. It is not the most aerodynamic, and obviously it is a crossover. It did not feel too slow, and the transmission was relatively responsive in here as well. Obviously, this is not any sort of performance oriented model of that nature. But again, it's respectable. I would definitely say it is definitely respectable. It definitely felt pretty good. So one other feature too that I wanted to mention is the fact that you will see demonstrated to you shortly, is the fact that the cargo area is pretty large in this vehicle, and the fact that the rear passenger seating area is also pretty extensive, even with it being moved upwards just a little bit, probably about 5 inches or so. If you have a package that is a little too large, and for the cargo area, and you still require back seat seating, the entire area can be, the middle row itself can be forwarded just a little bit to offer a little bit more space, which you will see now.
All right, so here's another feature that you guys may not have noticed. This is what the cargo space looks like, just as is. But just in case you had that little extra bigger package, one that won't fit exactly, here's a feature I can show you. You can actually put this back and see how much ample room there is in the back, as well as there's still plenty of room up here just for your passengers.
Yeah, like if you can see that there's a little bit more, probably about 5 inches or so of extra space. So if you need backseat occupants, backseat seating, and you need a package that would not fit in the regular position, you can move the seats, both of them by the way, just to alleviate more space. So with that being said, So Marco, again, like I said, this is the first time you've probably really driven this vehicle, right?
Right.
What are your thoughts so far? Especially, you're more of like what would be the average consumer per se. You're not much of a car guy per se, but you know you appreciate your muscle cars here and there. How do you view this vehicle as someone that is a little bit more you know, genuine in terms of what they're looking for on an average basis?
So you're definitely right. When it comes to me, I'm more of a practical type of use. I'm just here for what your car can do for you in your everyday life. So what I can tell you about this car is there's plenty of ample room as far as cargo seating goes, as far as passenger seating goes. Like Jay said earlier, the takeoff was pretty nice. I mean, for a V6 engine, you know, you're gonna get that.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think
that's what you're into.
Sorry.
That too.
Yeah, you think you hear 220 horsepower and you think, oh, this is going to be slow, but it didn't feel lethargic or lacking in that nature. You know, of course, me, I always think there could be more power.
Absolutely.
Pretty much. But for me to sit here and say like, oh, this is probably like dangerously slow, or that you're going to have issues doing some overtakes, I do not feel that in this vehicle whatsoever, which I think is very rewarding in its own right. So my closing thoughts on the Trailblazer is the fact that obviously it has pretty much no familiarity with its heritage. It is something completely different and has turned into a practical SUV for, you know, your pretty much everyday family that requires large cargo area as well as ample room for you know, up to about 5 people, since it does not have a third row. With the obvious plus being that stylistically it's a pretty attractive vehicle. So if you're looking for something that is, you know, attractive and offers practicality, this is something that is honestly pretty ideal. It is something that is more of an eye catcher than, you know, like your Traverse or your Equinox. The Traverse is the biggest one, right? Right. So it would be more, this would be more of like if you're cross shopping between an Equinox and a Traverse, this would probably be my go-to. This would be more of my go-to just because it looks, you know, a lot better. If you're looking for something that's a little bit more out there, this is definitely it. If you're looking for something a little bit more subdued, then, you know, obviously Chevy is covered on your more layman's type offerings. So Marco, what can one realistically look to get this vehicle out the door? Yeah, basically, what do it look to spend?
So the prices actually have yet to be released. But this one, yeah. But for this specific model, if you qualify for the rebates and certain things like that, it'll come about 37. So 39 would usually be around maybe ballpark standard pricing, but that depends because we've still yet to release that information yet to the public.
Okay, well,
yeah,
I guess.
I mean, and then to us salesmen, I don't even know what it is yet. Yeah.
Well, like I said, this is the only one you've had. Right. Since it's really been announced, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, my apologies. I did not really realize how new this is. I was like, I just came in today. I was like, hey, you guys have a Blazer? Yeah, we only have one, and it's in the showroom. And it took it out for me, so that's really good though. So once again, this is your boy Jeameave, Reviews from the Heart. I appreciate you guys for watching. I'm my guy Marco. Again, if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to him at his number, which is
310-536-6135.
And once again, this is courtesy of Barnes Chevrolet right here in Torrance, California. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share it, please. And your boy needs support and help, okay? That's all I ask. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you next one. Have a blessed day, and I'm out.